What's going on, FUD Nation, and welcome back. Today, I'm using my handheld iPhone to record my intro because for some reason, my computer can't figure its stuff out. But very importantly, the Fed has just printed the equivalent of 2/3 of the entire Bitcoin supply overnight to bail out the banks. I'm not going to do a long intro with this shaky hand action. So let's get right into the meat of this video with some critical Bitcoin and cryptocurrency news updates. I had some serious tech issues today, so I apologize. I'll get them worked out for future episodes. But for now, please bear with me, and I hope you enjoy this somewhat jerky episode of FUD TV. I love you guys. So as I mentioned, the Federal Reserve here just loaned the equivalent of 12.7 million Bitcoin to bail out banks in one day. This is the equivalent of a whopping $119 billion. Now, these are being proposed as loans, but in the end, I think these debts could be forgiven here to the banks if there was any ability or any inability to pay this back. As we're seeing the mainstream markets printing money ad nauseum to fix their problems, we're also seeing a tightening coming into the supply of Bitcoin. You would think that as the network of Bitcoin grows, even without dynamic bubbly moments, that as the gradual usage and spreading of Bitcoin, people hodling, people taking coins off the market, people actually using coins in different innovative ways, that the overall market demand for Bitcoin is growing gradually, and that you could see that the, value of fiat is going to be, diminished potentially at a higher rate than has been before. So this financial intervention came in two parts, with overnight repurchase agreements totaling $76.9 billion, and the second being a 14-day repo totaling $34.9 billion. If you want the details of this article, I'll link it in the description below. We're seeing glaring signs of an economic tightening coming, but we don't really know the scope or the moment in which this will happen. It could be potentially months to years away still, but we're still seeing some canaries in the coal mine. And really what we don't know is how this will impact Bitcoin. We have some educated guesses, but we don't know that for a fact. Let me know, do you guys think that an economic downturn of a tremendously large proportion, something on the scale of 2007 or 8 of that downturn, that housing crisis downturn, do you think that that would actually lead to a direct surge in the Bitcoin price, or would Bitcoin likely fall with the rest of the market? Certainly a question that will dictate the next few years of Bitcoin, because if there is a hyper Bitcoinization that comes out of this, then it could potentially surge Bitcoin through its new all-time highs and potentially on to uncharted territory in a very, very short amount of time if there is a big turn into a hard asset like Bitcoin, if people decide to take their money out of the markets and put them into assets, hard assets, precious metals, property, Bitcoin, these types of things that aren't as subject to inflation. I'm sure you guys already saw this because it was, made big crypto news over the last few days, but essentially PayPal has cut off all the Pornhub sort of users that were using PayPal to receive payments from Pornhub. In the end, this is just another example of financial controls. You have something that's happening lawfully, but you have a financial system that's creating its own sort of secondary rules, right? Where now all of a sudden the money can't flow because PayPal decides it can't flow, a closed organization where nobody can vote on what they think is right or wrong for PayPal to allow. It's a private company. It shows the importance of the cryptocurrency, decentralized, sound money principles and why they're so important, and growingly so in the internet age where everything is really funneled through these centralized organizations. So obviously there's been a bunch of news that has sort of hopped on this. Changelly has made a proposition, Verge surged off of this. But in the end, instead of saying that this is any kind of good news for a crypto company, this is just more proof that sound money is necessary, because if you have something happening lawfully and yet you have a private company that's able to essentially create their own de facto laws that essentially affect people's lives and have financial impact on people's lives, there's no judiciary system here. There's no appeal system here. It's just what PayPal says. That's it. End of story. I think that's wrong, and I think that it underpins the significant need for sound money. Let me know what you guys think about this story in the comment section below. And in what I consider a tremendously important piece of news, we have word that Wyoming's new crypto banking law could defang New York's BIT license. So we all know New York's BIT license is essentially the most rigorous standard to pass. Very few companies have been able to pass New York's BIT license standard and actually be able to operate in New York. But apparently, according to the members of the team that drafted the 13 crypto-friendly laws enacted by the Western state Wyoming this year, one of those laws will allow Wyoming to charter SPDIs, or Special Purpose Depository Institutions, a new type of fully reserved fiat bank that can also allow custody crypto assets. Let me translate that for you. There's a new type of bank that will allow anyone who is good with Wyoming, who is cool in Wyoming, to be operating anywhere in the country. So says the members of the team. Now, I could see a vigorous legal battle ensuing over this, but according to the members of the team, quote, "We are fairly confident that Wyoming SPDI will be able to operate in New York without a BIT license," Chris Land, general counsel of the Wyoming Division of Banking, said Tuesday at CoinDesk Invest NYC event in New York. That's right, calling you out on your home turf.
Catch me outside, how about that?
How about that? Look, as you can see, this stuff is confusing. And if something can be created in Wyoming that can supersede potential regulations going on in New York, this is all, very theoretical at the moment. And I can guarantee there will be legal battles that try to find the real bottom of the truth here. And in the end, this is just exemplary of how brand new this industry is, how brand new the regulatory framework is, and how much we are still in this process of discovery. It feels like so much has happened since I got into this industry. This has all just been set up. The actual pillars, the foundations of this industry have not even been laid. They're not set. The cement has still not dried here. How can you imagine what the skyscraper looks like if literally the foundation is still being built? It's very, very exciting, but it also just shows how long the journey is. I also wanted to touch on the news that Compound, which is the crypto lending ecosystem, just raised $25 million to expand its ecosystem from some of the biggest investors in Silicon Valley. Essentially, Compound allows for you to earn interest like you would in a bank, but with just more interest. Each of these loans are collateralized with cryptocurrency. The way Compound works is lenders, who can be anyone, could be you, provide capital in the form of so-called stable coins, which are a type of cryptocurrency pegged to the value of the US dollar. On the other side, borrowers take out the stablecoin loans by providing capital in the form of Ethereum and, of course, Bitcoin, or a handful of other digital currencies. The process involves neither paperwork nor intermediaries, since the entire lending agreement is dictated by the terms of Compound software. This is how lending will be done in the future. It won't be a bank, it'll be a simple piece of code. You might be asking yourself, who is actually doing this and why are they doing that? And I think that's a valid question, because it's not exactly every day that you're thinking, hey, let me turn in my Bitcoin and Ethereum and get a stable coin loan off of those. What are the situations where you can see that happening? And here are the two primary groups, according to the company. The first are numerous cryptocurrency companies that have raised tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in Ethereum and are using it as collateral to borrow money for salaries and operational costs. The second group are traders and crypto hedge funds that want to leverage their Ethereum holdings for short-term investments. As you can see, it's not really retail focused yet. Anyway, let me know, guys, in the comments section below. Have any of you in FUD Nation used any DeFi products? I'm very curious. Let me know what your experience was like. I'm very, very interested in potentially trying some DeFi products myself. I'm just thrilled to see that we are pushing forward and providing real use cases for these assets. Now, finally, I just wanted to touch, there's a video here that's been circulating the Reddit sphere, and it's essentially a Bitcoin price prediction based on a logarithmic regression. You might have seen this pop up. Now, finally, I wanted to touch on a piece of news here that is a Bitcoin price prediction based on logarithmic regression. I'm not going to play the video. I'll link it in the description below. It's quite a long video. But anyway, it essentially is making the case for about $140,000 Bitcoin at the top of the next bull run. Interesting stuff. And then it shows a bottom of $30,000 after the next bear market. Using kind of, somewhat simplistic math, here you can see the big numbers. He's just doing a simple multiplication here to extrapolate. How are you guys feeling towards these whole price predictions as we come into the halving, as we come into the next hopeful cycle here with Bitcoin, as we're seeing instability here on the banking side, instability in mainstream markets, and yet we're going to see this tremendous supply shock, potentially the only real piece of fundamental news in the Bitcoin world, which is the lessening of the mining reward. Let me know what you guys think about all this, and if you're a believer in the $100,000 plus Bitcoin. And of course, will you be selling if we hit $100,000? let me know. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I certainly did. If you did, throw a like on this video. It's free, it's easy, it shows your appreciation. Hey, you're this far into the video, easy to click. Do me also the favor, if you're not subscribed, click that sub button because we're gonna be coming out with a ton of content through the end of the year. It's Christmas, it's Hanukkah, it's the holiday season, and I want to give as much content to you guys as I can. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm Elio Trades. You're watching FUD TV, and I will see you very, very soon on the next episode.